Chicago Bears fans. So today I'm here to give my recap of everything that kind of happened, all the news that broke on Tuesday's OTAs for the Chicago Bears. A lot of things that happened, a lot of things that I'm hyped about, and I'm going to dive straight into it with the offense, Justin Fields. As you can see by the title and the thumbnail, big plays early. That's what we got from Justin Fields. A double move going to DJ Moore down the sideline, a big time connection. And I talked about it. There's only but so much we can learn. No pads, no shoulder pads, no knee pads, none of that. But it's only so much we can learn, and we just want to build that connection, build that chemistry, because it's different for our offensive and defensive linemen. Yes, we can't physically go one-on-one against these guys. And when we're talking about receivers, 7-on-7s, 11-on-11s, that's kind of some of the things we can expect from the season, and it gives us a better feel as far as a quarterback because there's no true pass rush, but at the same time, timing, precision, all of those things. So we don't want to overthink it, but we can't just erase it as if it doesn't matter. So I did take a lot of stock into that, seeing the connection, and going to another guy on the offense, Chase Claypool. And I'm hearing things from Justin Fields, everybody, they're saying he's locked in, has a new mindset. I'm loving that because being a Steelers guy, knowing Chase Claypool, came from the Steelers, came out of Notre Dame, he wasn't always the most mature guy. And I'm not saying he's a guy that caused trouble or anything, but here he has a new mindset. He's maturing just a little bit more, kind of what they need in that room, kind of a younger wide receiver room. So adding him into that, DJ Moore, I'm expecting those two guys to be the leaders of this room. Now we understand, trade midseason coming from Pittsburgh, going to Chicago, and it never really materialized to what a lot of people thought it would be. We gave up a second-round pick. We're thinking we're getting this big-time down-the-field receiving threat, and I think you still do. Now it's just going to take a little more time in OTAs, training camps, mini camps. These are the things that we need to be working with Chase Claypool, building that same connection that we're building with a DJ Moore. Now, there's a couple of notable names that weren't there, guys on the offense, and going over to the offensive line. We saw Darnell Wright, we saw Tevin Jenkins, we saw Braxton Jones, we saw Cody Whitehair. But the guy that we didn't see was Nate Davis in that right guard position. We saw Jatir, not sure how you say that, but we saw Jatir Carter at that right guard position, kicking in for Nate Davis, and understandable. But I see some Chicago Bears fans talking about it. They want to see him there, a new guy, want to build that chemistry. Like I said, no pads, nothing of that nature. It's only but so much we can do with the offensive line, but we still want to kind of build that chemistry because it's a cohesive unit. You could be the best lineman in the world. If you're not in a cohesion with your guys, it's not going to be the end product that you want to see. Now, we want to see him. And I'm going to start going over to the defense because before I get into the notable names who weren't there for the defense, are some guys who weren't in running reps with the day one guys who we thought we would see. Now, Tremaine Edmunds. And I talked about Tremaine Edmunds in previous videos because when he was with the Buffalo Bills, everybody loved him. Now he's with the Chicago Bears, and people are hating him. They're saying he's not the same guy. He wasn't worth the money. He's not a top linebacker in the league. Tremaine Edmunds is still a fairly young linebacker. Tremaine Edmunds has good film out there. Now, he has things to work on. That's okay. That's respectable. But what we saw in OTAs, we saw a pick six. And I talked about it in this video, saying basically with that frame, 6'4", 6'5", can get in those passing lanes. He's athletic enough to run the hole in that Tampa 2. And that's what you want to bring in. I talked about Matt Eberflus, the coaching tree that he stems from, and all of that defense. And now we're bringing him in. We got TJ Edwards to be more of our thumper in the hole. That is a lot of what we want to build with this defense. And all the times, we don't want to put him in man coverage per se. Now, I watched film on Tremaine Edmunds. He can run with guys in man coverage. Talking about running backs, tight ends, he can do that at a very high level. But we put him in zone coverage. He's going to be in the windows. And who's throwing over 6'4", 6'5" consistently? PJ Walker found that out the hard way. Pick six. Now, understand, nobody could tackle him. And, that kind of plays into the pick six. But at the end of the day, this is what we're expecting. This is what we want to see. And I'm pretty sure Matt Eberflus, he's thinking, we got one. We got him. As soon as he saw that pick six, this is why you pay him that money. This is why you do that. Because that Mike linebacker is so critical in today's football for that defensive scheme. And just liking to see that out of him. Now, I was kind of surprised Tyreek Stevenson not running with the ones. And I mean, we can understand that to a certain extent. He was a second round pick. He's going to have to earn his spot. All those things are nice. I do think he's talented. I do think he'll earn the spot to say that before I get into it. But I saw some other guys out there at the corner position. Jalen Jones, and most notable, Jalen Johnson not out there. And now that's what we're going to get into. But just interested that I didn't see Tyreek Stevenson running with the ones. Not putting too much stock into it. I do think he's still a good football player. And I mean, watched a lot of him at Miami. He's a scheme fit for what they want to do. Those bigger corners, getting your hands on receivers, all of those things. Now, Jalen Johnson, I see a lot of people freaking out about this situation. Him not being there amongst contract negotiations, going into that contract year. I'm not putting too much stock into it. I'm sorry. You know, you may have wanted to hear me say this is a big deal. You know, it's going to blow up. And I heard Matt Eberflus, you know, talk to him about it when you see him. That is kind of a straightforward answer, kind of a, you know, push back, get out of my face type answer. But it's not that. And I don't think the relationship between those two have gotten to that point. I don't think so. I think Jalen Johnson's going to come in. Now, understand, at the end of the day, this is voluntary. It's not voluntary, but it's voluntary. If you've been an athlete, if you know these things are never voluntary. Nothing is voluntary in team sports, especially professional sports. But still, we got to understand that's the tag that we have on this. Now, Jalen Johnson, I do think he's a guy that should get paid by this football team. I do think he's earned it. I've had high praise for Jalen Johnson because I think he's that type of guy. And, you know, when they start to win some more, he's going to get more shine. That's just kind of how it plays in the NFL. But I'm gonna wrap it up with that. My quick recap. Like I said, I'm not putting too much stock into that. I like what I saw from the offense, like what I saw from the defense. And you saw Nate Davis not being at that right guard, putting Jatir Carter right there. Perfectly fine with that. I like everything that I saw. That's a lot to be hyped about. So let me know, what do you think about Tuesday's OTAs in the comments? We're going to talk about it. That's going to do it for today, and I'm going to leave you with that thought. So now, we out.